perspectives on recent events and activities. I'm your host, Liam, and our guest today is Kai Kert. So, Kai, tell us a little bit about yourself, huh?
Alright, well, my name is Kai Kert. I'm from Layton, Utah, and I just moved here, and I'm a skateboarder.
Cool. So, our first topic on today's list is dating. So, what's dating like in the city?
It's mostly just like going out to the movies, but to ask the girl, you actually have to go up to her in school, or if you see her on the sidewalk, you have to ask her. The most thing that we do is go out to the mall, and that's pretty much it.
I bet that gets pretty pricey. So,
Yes, it does.
So, dating for us is the biggest thing that happens now is Snapchat. We'll ask the girl over Snapchat, but we're still pretty old-fashioned here, so we'll go up to the girl and usually make it kind of extravagant. We'll have our friends there, and we'll give her flowers and maybe a gift card or something, but it's kind of a big deal here when we ask somebody. And when we go out on the date, if we're not going to the movies or some dinner, which is pretty extravagant, we're mainly just going and having like a mudding trip. We'll go mudding on our dirt bikes or in a truck. Or what happens most of the time now is we'll just kind of go maybe to one of our ranches or dairies or something, and we'll kind of chill in a field and just kind of talk about our lives and talk about the differences between our lives and kind of what happens with us. So the next topic is what's school life in the city?
Pretty most like rich people and stuff. There's the rich, we call them jocks. We have the middle kids, and then we have the poor. They mostly dress up like me, like we wear flannels and stuff. Schoolwork is really important. We usually do like after school activities like chess club, bowling, golf. But the main thing that we do at school is football.
Yeah, something that we have in common here is football is a huge deal here. It seems like the entire town runs off of football. You can't wait till that Friday night game. And when that Friday night game comes around, the stands are packed. Every person who could possibly fit in there is there. So football is a huge deal here. But school life here is, we'll wake up at 4 in the morning so we can go and feed the animals and get ready for school, and then we'll catch the bus. And the second school gets off, we'll either ride the bus or our parents will be here to pick us up. And the second we get back to our farm or ranch or dairy or whatever it might be, we'll hop in a tractor and we'll go cut the fields, or maybe we'll plow or something. And we always, no matter what, have something to do. And that's what kind of makes our life enjoyable, because after a hard day at school, working on our least favorite subject, whatever that might be, we'll go back home and we get to do what we love, which is farm. So what's some fun activities that you do?
Personally, like I said, I'm a skateboarder, so technically I just go skateboarding all day after school. But for other people, they usually just go to people's houses, hang out, or like I said, they technically just go to the mall.
Yeah. Around here, pretty much what Haley said is after school we'll go and cut a field. That's our idea. It's fun. But other times maybe it's hanging out with our family or cooking with our mom. Those home cooked meals are the best. So what's some thoughts on Bitcoin? What's your thoughts on Bitcoin?
So in the city we use Bitcoin for a lot of stuff. We usually use it for mostly cars, because we can't usually, with like daily jobs, we can't, afford to get the car in about 6 months. We have to wait 2 years. We use it for houses, to buy a house or rent out an apartment. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, around here we don't use Bitcoin very much around here, but we do see it coming up a whole lot. You could go on a website and say we're looking for a new part for our truck. You'll go on a website and a new option, instead of buying it with your debit card or with PayPal or whatever, you could buy it with Bitcoin, and it's absolutely astonishing the way that our economy and our country has come so far just within the past couple of years. So what's technology like for you guys? Personally, we use technology quite a bit. So something that I'll bring up a little bit later though is one of the big deal around here is like tractors. They're coming out with those new GPS-driven tractors where you can just input, whatever field is yours, and later it'll remember what route you took to cut that field, so you can just click a button and it'll cut it itself. And that's absolutely astonishing. But we do use our phones, and like right now, we're using cameras. That's some of the greatest thing ever, is taking that perfect photo of your field with the sunset behind it and just knowing this is my home. That's absolutely great. So what about you?
Mostly for technology in the city. We use it for phones, a lot of computer stuff, mostly video games. But the newest thing that we got in the city is the electric cars. We finally got the auto drive for Uber, where you don't have to have a driver in the seat with a mask on. You can seriously just sit there and let the car do its thing. But it is mostly scary when it drives around, because it's still new. Another thing is the new the card reader that we have. We usually don't use our actual debit cards. We actually have it on our phones, so you can scan it and buy whatever you want.
And kind of ironic, because here the only place we have that here is the dollar store. So
yeah,
that's pretty insane. Here is we don't really have all the fancy stuff, and the places that do have the fancy stuff, it's where everybody goes. So that's kind of cool. What's advancements in your life? How do you know that something is advancing, and what does that mean to you?
Not usually technology advancements, it's more like the culture. So I'm a city guy, so I grew up in the city. But when I was living here for a year, this countryside just got to me. I've been wearing, cowboy boots, leather jackets and stuff, something like that, and wearing cowboy hats a lot. So advancement of my life is, going higher.
Yes, that's something definitely here is, you hear about your social class. You have, the low, and then you have middle and high social classes. And around here we definitely have that, but there's more than just 3 social classes. We definitely have quite a few. But the big social class is being really, really popular. Whether you're on the football team or you're just friends with everybody, that is a huge deal around here. And so just biggest advancement you could possibly have in your life is to get up to that social class level. Cars. What's a car like for you guys?
A car is mostly like a BRZ or GTR or Lamborghini. Here we don't talk about trucks at all. We don't talk about Fords or Rams, Chevys. We don't talk about that. We talk about how much turbo or how much we stock into our cars and stuff, and just mostly about cars, not trucks.
With us, our vehicles are definitely trucks.
Oh yeah.
100% it's about trucks. Our trucks are something that we can take pride in. Whether we just dropped a new engine in it or we got a new paint on it, our trucks are definitely, we take something that we have pride in. And so if we get something new on our truck, whether it's a new engine, a new transmission, maybe we just put some heated seats in that truck, that makes it, everybody will be like, oh man, that's so cool, I'm so jealous. And so we definitely have pride in our trucks. But not only is it something that we take pride in, but it's something that we need on a day-to-day basis. It's not like the city where, you can walk to the store down the street. No, the store, depending on where you live, could be a couple miles away. So unless you're going to take a couple hours out of your life just to go get some milk, you definitely need your vehicles around here. So cars are a huge deal around here. So the next topic that we have is the way we talk. Now, mainly what this means is what words you use, what the slang is like, and what your accent is. So what about you?
It's mostly like skateboarding, we use bro, dude, sick, that's gnarly, all that. So if someone does something cool, or they they have something cool, you say, man, dude, that's gnarly, that's pretty dope. Bro, we say hey bro, how you doing? Hey man, how's your day today? Or bro, what the hell are you doing? something like that.
So with us, the way we talk, we definitely, here in Nevada, we definitely don't have very much, southern drawls or accents. There are a couple kids, whether they grew up in the South and moved here, or maybe their parents grew up in the South and moved here when they were young, but they still have that accent. There are a couple people here. But mainly it's we definitely like to make up new words like y'all. Combination of you and all. It just makes our life a little bit simpler. And some of the words you may not understand when you first get here, but everybody here, when somebody says that, you know exactly what they mean because it's just part of our day-to-day life. So age. So how does age affect your life? I know here, age is definitely a huge deal. When you turn 6 to 8 years old, you get your first job, whether mainly it's, working for your parents, raking up leaves in the front yard. But no matter what it is, you usually get your first job around 8. Once you turn 14, you start to, get to do a little bit more. You get to start, driving tractors and helping your parents in the fields. Or you get to start, driving the truck or the tractor while they're doing other work. But normally it has something to do with, whatever your parents need, which is usually around here having to do with driving. Once you hit 16, that's a big deal. You get to have your license, you get to have a little bit more freedom. So you no longer have to depend on your parents to drive you to town to go hang out with your friends. You get to drive yourself, which is a huge thing. You definitely need to be able to drive around here, like I said earlier. But there's a song that I think about every time I think about this. And it basically talks about how you have your different steps in life. So when you're 14, you can't wait until you turn 16 so you can get your driver's license. Once you turn 16, you can't wait till you turn 18 so you can move out of the house and you no longer have to depend on your parents. And then once you turn 18, you can't wait till you turn 21. You can go gambling and drinking and stuff like that. But then it seems like everybody around here, once they turn 21, they're telling everybody younger than them to just slow down because you can't wait until you get to those points in your life. And then once you get there, you look back on it and you're like, dude, why did I want my life to go by so fast? It's really a huge deal around here. You want to hurry up and be able to drive. You want to hurry up and be able to go, have fun with your friends. But once you get there, you realize it's not really that big of a deal. And so I think the age definitely has a purpose in our life, but sometimes you just need to sit back and relax and focus on what's happening here and now. So what about you?
Age for us, it's mostly like the little league and big league. So the little league, when you're like 6 to 8 years old, you don't really have to do anything. You just have fun and elementary and stuff. But when you turn 13 and 14, that's when things start getting to the high level where you have to start worrying about you getting into high school or you focusing on getting your permit. But when you turn 15, once you turn 15, you have to focus on getting your permit. Like there's no, oh, I'm going to do this later, but no, you have to get it now. Because in Utah, it's a big city and there's a lot of drunk drivers and reckless driving and stuff. When you turn 16, you have to focus on your grades in high school and try to get a good college, like probably go to like Harvard or something. When you turn 18, you got to focus on graduating and getting your own place because once you're trying to get your own place, it's hard. Because you might have 300 other people trying to get that same place that you want to go to, like apartment or house. The big thing that we have to focus on is getting a good job. So I think that's the big thing for our age.
Yeah. So what kind of games do you like to play? Whether it's video games or board games, or what do you do to kill time?
Kill time, we usually go out to the park or whatever and play football. But the most big thing is play Call of Duty. I think that's the big thing in Utah, to play Call of Duty. We do have a lot of after-school activities like chess club, golf, bowling, all that good stuff that you can do as a kid. So because you just don't want to sit home and do whatever, watch a movie. That's boring.
Yeah. So, around here, we don't really play very many games. We do play video games every now and then, but that's not really that big of a deal. The games around here, it's board games, whether you're playing Monopoly or Risk with your family to, kill some time, or whether you're out with your friends playing hide and go seek. It's all about spending time with other people. That's really what we do around here. So now that I'm thinking about it, we do have stuff in common. So whether it's, getting your license, because that's a huge deal for both of us, whether you're in the city and you have to get your license because you don't know what's coming next, or whether it's here and you have to get your license so you can actually have a little bit more freedom. We both have that in common, but what's some things that you notice that we have in common?
I think it's mostly the activities. Like football in Utah is a big thing too. Like we're so focused on that game and we just want to do good. And like I'm on the football team here, and if you mess up, everybody knows it. Like everybody knows that you messed up really hard, or like you didn't get a play right in a game, or you've been late to practice a lot. I think that's like the most common thing that we have. And dating too. It's technically the same thing, but we have the same thing if we have to go up to the girl and ask her.
Yeah. So the next thing I want to talk about is outdoors. So we definitely, here in Nevada and there in Utah, we definitely both have deserts. But there are some differences that I definitely know about. So here, our outdoors is mainly fields everywhere, because that's what our life revolves around. It's about being able to go home and cut that field, or plow it, or have fun with your family in that field, playing hide and go seek through the corn. But we do also have like mountains, and that's fun when we want to go four-wheeling or ride dirt bikes somewhere. And then biggest thing that everybody looks forward to is the rain. And the reason why we look forward to the rain is so we could go mudding. The second that rain hits and we get out of school, everybody's like, okay, hop into my truck. And we'll drive on our trucks, and hopefully the goal is to get your truck stuck. Because even though we all lie and say we don't want that to happen, we just want to get home, we know that once that happens, one, it's an excuse for our parents. Why were you out so late? Oh, my truck got stuck. But two, the fun of what we could try to use to get it unstuck, whether we're using wood or whether it takes 20 trucks to pull that thing out of the mud pit. It's a lot of fun. So that's what outdoors is like here. So what do you guys do outdoors?
Party. We go out to a lot of parties. Mostly high school parties. After school, they'd be like, hey, party at my house, let's go. And then we'll be like bussed by the cops and stuff. It's the most funnest thing. My fun thing that I like to do outdoors is snowboarding when there's snow outside, or skateboarding.
Not saying that, getting caught by the cops is a good thing, okay?
Yeah, it's not a good thing, but it is fun to run away when you're drunk, when you're wasted.
Around here, everybody knows the sheriff. Everybody knows the cops. And so, they do bust you. It's not that big of a deal. The biggest thing is, it's not really scary to get busted by it. It's what comes afterwards. The cops will see you and they're like, oh, I know your mom. So they'll call up your parents and be like, hey, you know what your son was doing? And that's what's scary. When you get home and your parents are like, okay, go get my belt. That's a scary thing for around here. Skills. So what's some skills that you need to live in the city?
To know where places are, because it's a big city, so you need to map around and stuff. Like a lot of people actually have a map of Utah, like Layton, Utah. We have big maps to figure out whatever. It's mostly just asking people like, hey, do you know where this is? And one of our skills, it's not towards the city, but it's actually towards football as well. The skills that we need in Utah is not as much as we need here. So that's pretty much it.
Around here, you definitely need to know how to drive a tractor. And quite honestly, when you first start learning, it is really confusing. You have all these levers and all, the bucket and the backhoe and, the plows and all that. It gets really confusing, but once you learn it, that's a huge accomplishment for you. Being able to hop on and have that muscle memory kick in. Or I'm going to push in the clutch and switch it into gear. And then I'm going to switch it into four-wheel drive so I can go through that mud pit right there. Huge accomplishment, and it's definitely something you need to know how to do. Another thing around here is it's not really you have to know how to play football, but you have to know what football is about. If you do not know about football, or you don't know the concept of football, then you're not going to get along with anybody around here. That's all you need to know pretty much to get into a social group around here. If you can walk up to a kid and say, hey, were you at the football game last night? And you could start a conversation about football, you'll get along with that person.
You can seriously be talking like for 4 hours about football.
Just about football. So you definitely need to know about how to start up a conversation about football. So what does the weather mean to you guys?
Weather in there, it's pretty insane. Mostly the rain, because in Utah we live on mountains. We definitely live on mountains, so there's big hills and everything. And when it rains, there's a lot of floods. And when that means floods, then our transformers will go out and we'll have no power, or like we can't get somewhere because the water is so high. The snow, I think that's our favorite thing, snow. Because we have a lot of ski resorts in Utah, like Snow Basin, Powder Mountain, Wolf Mountain, Park City, Rose Mountain. We have all that stuff. So that's pretty much it.
Yeah, that's something different between us. So don't get me wrong, we like the snow, but it's not that big of a deal. Especially if it snows in town, we kind of get a little bit disappointed. It's like, snow, stay where you belong up in the mountains. We need it in the mountains because it's still going to get into our reservoirs. But around here, it snows, it's going to cover up our crops. So whether we're planting or plowing or something, if it snows and it covers the ground, we're no longer going to be able to see where our lines are or what we just finished. But rain is the greatest thing ever around here. We all love the rain. The sound of the rain hitting our tin roofs, greatest sound ever. But the rain is a huge deal around here. When it rains, it waters our plants. And that's what our income revolves around. You have to be able to grow the plants, so when you sell them, you make the profit for that year. And so you definitely need to be able to have those plants get taken care of, which is another reason why sun is great. Maybe not the heat too much, 120-degree weather isn't that good because it starts to kill the plants, but nice warm 90 to 100-degree weather is not super hot, but it's warm enough and it's sunny enough that the plants get the nutrients that they need, so we get a better crop. So what do we look for in books? So this is kind of an oddball topic, but I do realize with us, we want to look at, Western books. Whether it's about dogs and, their importance, or whether it's, a tractor manual, reading a tractor manual so you could get to know how to fix your tractor better. We definitely look at stuff like that in books. So what do you guys look for when you read?
To change the oil in a car. Because
or maybe the tires.
And the tires.
Change the tires.
Yeah, to change the tires and everything. Like in city, we don't know how to do anything. Like, we don't know how to change the oil or, change out the rims or, all that stuff. Like, we do need a lot of help on that, so we buy it at like $10 for us to, fix a car.
Yeah, around here, that's just kind of something that you're supposed to know. And you really don't even have to read about it because we grew up with our parents doing it. That's another thing is like changing the oil. You kind of frowned upon around here if you take your car into a shop to get the oil changed. It's like, dude, you realize how much cheaper it is just to do it yourself. Plus, you can kind of have that bonding time with your car. You get to know your car a little bit better. Oh yeah, I use this socket for that, and I use this wrench for this. You get to know your car a little bit better by doing it yourself. So, that's kind of something that we just kind of already know about here. Next is, what's your favorite food?
Oh, that's a big one. I eat a lot of food, but I think my most favorite is chicken fried steak with mashed potatoes.
Oh, that's something we have in common here, chicken fried steak, especially with that gravy.
Oh man,
dude, that's the best thing ever.
Especially in the restaurant, the diner called Jerry's. Their chicken fried steak is pretty good. The gravy's kind of off, but it's still to go there and hang out. It reminds me of home a lot when I go to Jerry's.
Yeah. Another thing around here is, don't get me wrong, we eat out, especially, on busy nights where, we get off of, whether it's a football game that night, so you just have to hurry up and eat. You don't have time to make some big extravagant meal. We eat out, but home cooked meals are the best. No matter what it is, the big argument is always whose mom's food is better. And when you find that when there's that, you all know that kid. You may not admit it, but you all know that kid where his mom cooks the best food, and you can't wait until you go over to his house for dinner one night or hang out, and his mom asks you, what do you want for dinner? Man, that's the greatest thing, knowing that one, you get to pick the meal. Two, you're going to be getting served the best food in the world. That's the greatest thing ever. So what's the family activities that you do?
Mostly go skateboarding with my brothers and sisters. My mom, when me and my brother would start getting good at skateboarding, she would come out, pull out a chair, crack open a freaking beer, and just sit there and just watch us. It was a lot of fun. Our sisters would be like cheerleading, being like a cheerleader, pretty much it. Mostly board games too. We like to stay at home and play board games.
Yeah, so around here, it's mainly about family time. So one huge stipulation that I hear all the time, or some myth, but it's really not a myth, is there's a couple main things that the country is about. The country is about. It's always about God, beer, women, and trucks. And I hear that all the time. Oh yeah, that's all them country kids want is God, beer, country girls, and trucks. That's all you hear about. And it's mainly true. God is a huge thing in our life. Whether you're praying that morning before you leave for school or praying that night for some rain because you are in a drought and you really need it. God is a really big thing in our life. But hanging out with our family is a great thing too. Whether you're all working together because your tractor just broke down, so you all have to load the bales into a trailer so you can take the bales to sale, or whether you're sitting at home playing a board game while your mom cooks dinner in the kitchen, that family time is something we definitely look forward to. So thank you for your time here, Kai, and I hope we can have you on the podcast again.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome.
All right.